Testing to see if this works. Hi everyone, welcome back to our flip lessons. We are going to be finishing up our last element of fiction with this flip lesson, and as you can see, it is on theme. Theme refers to the central message that the story is conveying. It's a view about life and how people behave, how they should behave, maybe even how they should not behave. What's important to keep in mind with theme is that it's similar to a lesson, it's similar to a moral, but unlike the fables that we used to read in elementary school, theme is not going to be explicitly stated in this story. Instead, we have to sort of read between the lines and try to determine, well, what is the author trying to impart on us, the reader, through this book? Yes, he or she wants to tell a great story, but there's more to it than just that. So much of the reason why people read books is to understand the themes and to learn from what the characters go through in order to apply those own things to their own life. Now, in order to find a theme, we first are going to be thinking of a topic, one or two words, and then we're going to add on to that topic what the author wants us to understand about it. Let's look at some examples. Here's a very famous one. Love conquers all. So if you notice, love is our topic. And what does love do? It conquers all. That's what the author wants us to understand. Now, what's important here to note is that we can have many themes all about the same topic. Think of Taylor Swift for a second. Taylor Swift writes lots of songs about love, but she doesn't usually write songs about love when she's in love. It's usually whenever she has been hurt by someone. She writes a lot of songs with the theme somewhere along the lines of love stinks or love isn't worth it, that sort of thing. So it's important to keep in mind that we can have several examples based on that same topic. Here are some other ones. True friendship can weather anything. Thinking too highly of yourself leads to downfall. The ancient Greeks had a word for this. It was the word hubris, Hubris. They really wanted to convey to the people that you should not think too highly of yourself. And if you do, you'll get yourself into trouble. Think about the myth of Narcissus, for example. It's having that being overly confident led to his downfall. And then this one, you must always believe in yourself. Now notice here, the topic comes at the end of the theme statement. It doesn't matter where it comes in the sentence as long as it's there. That's the other thing to keep in mind. Note that theme statements are full sentences. Start with a capital letter, end with a period or other appropriate punctuation. If you're just using a word or two, you're not sharing enough information. Right, so the most important part of theme is figuring out, well, what is it? What is the story trying to tell us? So keep in mind that when you're determining theme, it's not going to be easily understood, typically until the very end. We usually think about theme when we reflect back on the story. We think about what happened, and that helps us to understand what the greater message is. A theme statement should be universal, which means that all people should be able to understand it. We should not be including specific character names or details from the story in this theme statement. Instead, it should be very human, something that we can understand. In thinking about the theme, pay very close attention to what the protagonist learns as a result of the main conflict. This is what's driving the story forward, but this is usually where the greatest learning happens for the main character. So if we pay close attention to that, usually we get an idea of the theme. And then finally, keep in mind that several moments in the story should support the theme's development. You should be able to say, this is a theme of the story, and here's how I know, and be able to give several pieces of evidence. If you can't do that, it probably isn't a major theme in the story. So you really want to make sure that you have lots of evidence to support your point. Now, as you can see, determining theme requires synthesis. That means putting together of many different elements in order to really figure out what theme is. We look at all of these different elements of fiction that we've been studying. Collectively, they help us to understand the story. So again, that term synthesis or synthesizing, putting together of many different pieces, helps us to determine theme. So now it's time for you to do some practice. If you look at the bottom of your notes, you will see a chart. What you need to do is come up with a topic that was prevalent in the short story. You then need to develop that into a theme statement that is a full sentence long. So you determine what the author is trying to tell you about theme, and then you write it as a full sentence. Now, there are 3 different columns. You have 2 for 2 short stories and 1 for the giver. I would like you please not to complete the column for the giver. We are going to do that together in class. Right, I will see you in class in a few. Thank you for joining us to learn about theme.